before moving, but the traveling expenses was going to be covered by the investor, the invisible investor. So I for like a month we were on it, trying to get cash, running around, and several times they did say we're going to meet one person tomorrow. They could just call up today and say, okay, we're meeting the main travel agents tomorrow, we're meeting this tomorrow, and then we go. So they asked us to bring passports, pictures, so we should come for medical tests and all that. So on the day we went to Ikorodu to meet this other set of. He did mention that when it comes to things like this, that he normally advises you to travel, go work and come back. So at some point he actually did some magic. So he said this is what he does for a living in Malaysia and some other countries where he goes to. And then he brought out stuff, sand, salt, handkerchief. Then he if we wanted to really go and we were certain that we were not going to tell anyone, we needed to, like, I was really not very down with everything, but one thing just kept sticking in my mind, which is do something tangible for myself. So I didn't really see anything, though I had doubts. I had very big doubts. So after that, they said they were going to let us know when we'll be leaving and how we will be leaving. We don't need to take anything, maybe just a bag. That you don't have to tell anyone. So for me, I found it very difficult that, okay, I'll be leaving my child for my mom and I won't be able to describe to my mom where exactly I'm going to or what I'm going there to do. And why would someone say, it's supposed to be a good news. So why would someone else say, don't tell your family, because they probably will not like the sound of it or they will discourage you. For me, I feel that should be a good news and you should share. So, but he made us to believe that when you do that, they will discourage you and you might end up missing an opportunity of a lifetime. And another thing that got me thinking was the fact that he did mention that people go there to hustle. So when I heard the word hustle, I actually did ask, like, what's the meaning of hustle? And it was like, regular hustle now. I'm like, no, the way that word sounds to me, the way you're saying it, looks like there's a different meaning to hustle. And then he now expatiated and said, some girls do go there just to go and work in brothels and come back. I'm like, okay. So hearing that started making me think, like, okay, this means that there is something he's not saying. So then I now asked clearly, what exactly are you taking me to this country to go and do? He now asked, what did you tell your friend you want to do? I said, no, I didn't tell him. He suggested that since I am good in these areas, so I can work in a restaurant and then also work in a hair factory. And he was like, so that is what you are going to do? So I said, okay, and waited for the day they were going to call. So on the day he called, that's the initial guy that told me about the traveling opportunity. He called and said, okay, so get ready by next week. We are moving by next week Sunday. It was supposed to be a Sunday. I said, okay, no problem. And then on getting to Ikorodu, I found out that my other friends weren't there. So I asked, what's up, what happened with the other friends? And it was like, they couldn't come up with even money for their passports, which was 50K. I was like, oh, because I saw one of them that morning and I was like asking her, babe, how far? She was like, that she's not sure that she's going. That's the one that has a sister. And that again, that their mom told them that it's not a good journey, that they shouldn't go. And that if she would advise me that I shouldn't go, for their mom to say it's not a good journey, I was like, why at the dying minute? So to me at that point, I just thought that, okay, maybe this is why these guys were always saying don't tell anybody. So I just went because I'd already packed my bag. So I went to Ikorodu, and then on getting to Ikorodu, we passed the night in Ikorodu. They said we were waiting for 2 other people to join us, and the next day he took us to Agbara. On getting to Agbara, it's a lady's house, and I met the owner of the house and about 3 other ladies. So he said, so this is the person that is your real travel agent. She's the one that is paying for you. She's the one that is helping you to travel to the person who sent money to her. And I said, okay. So what I told my mom when I was going to leave, I told her that I was traveling and that it was going to take me maybe like 6 or 8 months to come back. And she was like, what kind of a travel is that, and why are you staying so long? So I told her that it's a friend that is helping me out, and I really do not have to do so much just to pay for my passport. So she was even the one that even gave me like 35k out of the 50k that I gave those guys. And when I explained to her that it's a friend, and she already knows the guy, so the guy as in became very close. During one of our school parties, my mom's school party, he actually came around. He comes, like everybody now knew him. So when I mentioned his name and my mom, okay, she didn't see a reason to question, because this is someone that everybody has come to know very well. So she was like, okay. So that day I told her was the day she gave me the money, and she was like, okay, if you say that is what you want to do. But then she now asked what I was going to do about my school. So I said already I had missed the exam for that semester, and I already had missing exams from the previous semester. So when I come back, I'll sort it out. So she was like, okay, if that is what you want. But then she wasn't really like okay with it. She kept asking questions upon questions and questions upon questions. I'm like, at least you know the person that is actually working on this for me. So if there is anything, you can always ask him. So that was the last conversation I had with my mom. And at that time, there was a very big issue in the house. I was not in good terms with my stepdad and my mom. We had issues. So for me, it was just, I had it to the truth, and I wanted to just leave the house. So, and that was it. And I left. So my mom asked, so how are we going to be feeding this child? How are we going to be doing this? How are we going to be that? I told her not to worry, that at each point, I would always know what to do. So she didn't really bother me so much about the child, because she was still little. She was just 5. At least she would be able to still feed her and do some other things. So that was how I left my daughter with my mom and left. So on getting to that house, seeing 3 other ladies, and then the lady in question that owns the house, she was like, okay, so first she gave me rules that I was not comfortable with, and no talking to anybody. You're on your own here. This is just you and your destiny. Like, it's just you and your destiny here. No friendship. The only business you're here for is for you to be taken to the country where you're going to. She too, she just came back. She's going to be joining us like in a month's time and all. So she said we're moving in 3 days. So in 3 days, nothing was happening, and then I was forced to ask questions. Like, I've been here for 3 days. Nobody's going anywhere. What's happening? So she was like, we're waiting for 2 more people. I'm like, that was the same thing these guys said the last time. They're waiting for 2 more people. You're also saying the same thing. So she almost snapped out, like, I'm questioning her too much, I'm pestering and this and that, and that I should just take her word when she says we're waiting for 2 more people, or if I was the one that was going to pay the money. So I kept quiet. So that day was a day to my birthday that year, March 2nd. So I felt, okay, since I'm still around, let me just go home. So I went home, saw my mom, saw everyone, just got stuff. So my birthday, that was on my birthday, I went home, and like my mom was like, what happened? You've not gone? And like, we're waiting for 2 more people. And then my mom now aired out, like, are you sure this thing is really genuine? And are you sure that you're not doing the wrong thing? She kept asking questions. So she asked me to call the guy that night so that she can confirm from him. So, but I called that night, his number wasn't going through. I told her that I didn't want to stay too long so that I can get back home, get back there on time. And that was how I left. So 2 days after, we were ready. and the lady asked her brother to take us to the park. So already, while the magician guy was talking to us a few days earlier, he had mentioned that we were going to go by road to an extent, and that the reason we're going by road to an extent is to avoid wahala from immigration and all of that. And to me, I was just wondering, but why are you trying to avoid these people if this is genuine? But I couldn't really ask too much questions. So he said we're going to go by road to a particular extent. So when the guy said we're going to the park, it took us to a park at Yanopaja, and then we entered Kano. So I now asked, why are we going to Kano? Then he said, that's the first place we are going to. That's where I will meet the people that will now take us to where we're going to. So at this point, we're 4 ladies and the guy. So he stayed with us at the park till the bus was full and we moved. So right there at the park, there were 2 ladies in the same bus behind us, and I noticed they were murmuring to each other. I tried eavesdropping. At that point, my Yoruba wasn't really fluent, but I can understand little by little. So I tried eavesdropping to maybe just hear something, because I became very worried. Like, am I sure I really want to continue? I can't just go back home from here and just run away. So I started looking at a means at which I can maybe even just abscond from this guy's hand. But you know, he was seated right opposite us. So even if I come down from the bus now, he's definitely going to see me. So at a point, I acted like I wanted to go buy something, and then I noticed that he was walking behind me, and I was like, okay, so this guy is watching me, I can't run away. So at a point, I just waved the thought of running away and felt like, as far as I'm going for a good cause, let me just go and do what I got to do and come back home. So we left. Getting to Kano, I was on my phone at that point, and the lady did mention to me that when I get to Kano, she gave me a particular number. When I get to Kano, or if we are being stopped on the way, or maybe we're being arrested or hijacked on the way by any of the security officials, that we should call the particular number. So at the point where I think it was NDLEA that stopped us, and they were like, where are we going to? And to me, I just said, they said when they asked us, we should tell them we're going to Kano. And if they ask us who are we going to meet in Kano, we should mention a particular name, which was what we did. And they did let us go. So getting there, I called the number, the man did come and asked us to stay somewhere, and picked us, took us somewhere else. And I was like, okay, so what next? And then he said, he now mentioned the lady's name. She wasn't that sent us to him, right? I said yes. So he told us, yeah, enter the car. And he drove off. So we drove for like 3 hours. Okay. Getting to where we were, to me it was like, why are we here? This place is looking deserted and all. So I started looking out. I remember looking out and I saw Sabongeri while we were driving. I saw Sabongeri. And I remember that at some point I heard about Sabongeri before, and I think I remember it being like an outskirt of Kano or so, thereabouts. So I was like, okay, but why are we going this far? I couldn't really ask the man questions because he wasn't even going to answer. And from there, they hipped us. The place he took us to, we met some other women and men there, and they wouldn't even allow you to see anything. They were just pushing everybody in. People must not see us and all that. So they like a hut, like it was a small hut, and there were people around. So they were trying to hide us. So at that point, I started becoming very scared, because why are you hiding us? Why are we having to rush into somewhere? You don't want people to know we are here. If they know we are here, they're going to come and take us away or something.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Welcome to The Advocate, where tropical issues are discussed in a no-who's-bad manner.
To me, if they cannot pass the law to give female women same rights as men, why do we bother educating women in the first place?
Exactly.
Why do parents spend money sending them to school, university?
If you want to trust your business growth, ladies has been proven worthy to represent the business.
It's been proven time and time again that organizations that have been run by women or have more women on their boards or in the management team actually perform better.
That our leaders in government don't respect women or don't think highly of women. To me, that's 50% of the workforce who are going to be demoralized.
If somebody steals food, it's not an indication that the person is hungry.
Yeah.
And yet we glorify these same thieves that call themselves government.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business, a business lifestyle show where we break down the concept of business to its simplest form. I am Moremi Akao. On today's episode, we will be talking about the event planning niche market in Nigeria from the perspective of an event vendor, with our guest, Ogenekewe Omotosho. Ogenekewe is a serial entrepreneur and a graduate of computer engineering. She obtained her BEng degree at the Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Enugu, Nigeria. She is the Chief Executive Officer and Creative Director of the unique popcorn brand, Give Me Oh Wow Popcorn and Events, makers of the popular Oh Wow popcorn brand. Ogenekewe is also the founder of I Sabi Work, an app designed to connect artisans or service providers with clients near them. As founder of I Sabi Work, she emerged the top female entrepreneur 2018 to 2019 Startupper of the Year Challenge, organized by Total in Nigeria. Thanks for coming on the show today, Kewe. Is it okay if I call you Kewe?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So, what does it take to become a good event vendor?
To be a good event vendor, the first thing I would say is that the person has to be a good listener.
You're a good listener.
Because clients come to you and they have a picture of what they want in their mind and they're trying to mirror it, as in they want you to see what they want. And the only way to picture what your client wants is to listen. Okay. So first of all, the person has to be a good listener, and at the same time, not just listening, the person has to be creative to be able to recreate what the client wants.
Okay.
those two are very, very important.
So you have to be a good listener. You have to be creative.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure you'd agree with me that planning a party in Nigeria is different.
It's totally different.
Okay, so what are the things, from a vendor's point of view, what are the things to bear in mind when planning a Nigeria party?
First thing that you have to have in mind as the host or the hostess is your budget. What do you want to spend? What's available to spend? Where you stop with your budget is where your rishi, if I say we can, stop. So if you want a small party, your event planner will work with your budget. See, as an event vendor, we work with event planners. Although some clients call us directly, but most times we work with event planners. So the event planner is the one that now translates, okay, this is what we can work with. This your budget can take this, can take that, and all that. So first thing is the budget.
The budget, yeah.
Then the venue.
Okay.
Do you want it? Do you want an outdoor party, an indoor party? Do you have the space in your house, or do you want to rent outside? All these things, it still goes back to the budget.
Okay.
Then we'll now talk about the number of guests. Do you, if it's a large party, are you planning for 100, 200, 1,000 or less? Some people might be planning for just 20, 50. So the number of guests is also a very important.
Yeah.
Then your event planner. You have to choose an event planner if you don't have the time. So some people will go all the way to try and do all these things by themselves because they have the time. But there are some very busy individuals that need to outsource the event and the party planning to the event planners. So another thing again that I would like to add is the type of party. Is it a burial? Is it a wedding? Is it a birthday? All these things are things that you need to put into consideration when planning a party. Because in Nigeria, there's something about the way we want our guests to perceive our parties. Even those that don't have so much would want to still, they like to get people that will still portray that air of, I spent a lot. That is the Niger factor. So that's when you have a client like that, or most of our clients are like that, you have to listen to them and give them the standard that they want.
Yeah, but doesn't it depend on their money?
It depends on the money, but even with little money, you can still have a quality event. So that's where the creativity comes in. But okay, you have this particular budget. How can I work around this budget to still bring out a particular standard that my guest or that my client will be proud of? Just something that is still worth it, even if it's little.
Even if it's little money.
Yes. Okay. So that is just the main thing about the event.
In Nigeria party.
Yes, in Nigeria party, you have to put that in mind because nobody wants to, in quotes, they don't want anybody that will fall their hand.
Yes, so I know you're in the kiddies space. I mean, well, more often you play in the kiddies space. So how do you best plan and cater to kiddies parties in such a way that it's memorable for the kids?
Well, you have to think like a child. What are those things that the children want to see or want to experience? You have to create an experience for the children. So that's why you see that most kiddies parties have this theme. What's the theme of the party? What do you think the child wants to experience? Some want to go to Wonderland. Some want to go to safari. Some want to be princesses. Some want to be superheroes. So all these things you need to look at and listen and say, okay, this is what the client wants. And this time, even the parents need to still listen to that, the real celebrants.
The child.
Yes. the parents have to listen to that child. The child will tell you specifically, you'll be surprised that they know exactly what they want.
True.
This is the kind of cake I want. I want a Barbie cake. I want a what do you call it? There are different
Ibenten
cake. No, different kinds of characters. So the child is the one that's going to let you know that this is what I want. If a parent is planning a child's party and did not involve the child in the plan, the child may say, "Mommy, I don't want to be a princess in this party. I don't want this princess character. What I want is the Wonder Woman character, for example." So
it's very important to bring the kids along in the planning process.
Yes. Then especially when they're now older. As 8 years, 10 years.
They already know what they want.
They have their list. They have the list of what they want. They are already event planners on their own. So it's just for them to be telling the main event planner that this is what I want, and they look out for it. They want to experience. For children, it's all about the experience.
I agree. We'll talk more about this shortly.
Okay.
We will go on a quick break now. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is still Ladies Talking Business, and our guest is Ogenekewe Omotosho. So, I'm sure you'd agree with me that there are hundreds of thousands of vendors out there, especially in Nigeria.
Yes.
So how can a vendor stand out in this oversaturated events market?
Well, standing out is first of all being able to recreate something different, a unique piece. That if this is how ABCD is doing it, I want mine to be different, so they can easily pick you out of the crowd. So creativity, you have to be creative.
Okay.
To say, if people are shaping theirs like this, I want to shape mine like this. If people are using this kind of what they call it, shaving dish, something like that.
Shaving dishes.
Yes. Yeah. I want mine to be different. Plates. That's why you keep seeing new innovations. By the time if you attend several parties in a month, you see different kinds
styles,
of different styles, because people want to bring in their own personality into what they are doing and show that okay, we are different from everybody.
Okay. So, just like I said, there are hundreds of thousands of businesses, vendors, who are also small businesses. In your own opinion, what do you think is the best way for them to scale up? Because there's so many people. So how can I scale up, make more money, or make money in my industry?
First, you have to think big.
Think big.
Yes. Look at yourself, where you are right now. Okay, I want to be so and so place. I want to be at a particular level at a particular time. So that's someone already thinking big. But some people are just content with what they have right now. In short, some people actually underprice themselves.
Just so they can get more.
Just so that, yes. At the beginning, it's okay. It's actually okay to start with a few free jobs, just to create awareness that this is what I do. But by the time you now start getting more clients and people are getting to know you, and you now realize that, wait, I want to grow bigger. That's thinking big. I don't want to be on this level. So first, the person has to think big to say you want to go to the next level. Then the second thing again, you have to delegate. Because I personally, I like doing things on my on my own terms and my designs. When I started, I was always at events. I would want to arrange everything, take pictures, do this, do that. Then when it's now, after a while, I realized that you can't continue doing this. If you want to really grow, you should be able to delegate. And when your process, it's also standardization, setting processes that this is how it's done and all that. Then you have to now replicate. That is part of scaling. By the time you've been able to hand it over to certain workers, people that work with you, and you see that, yes, they are getting, after training them and all that, you see that they're getting it, then you can now replicate to another. Because initially, we started with only one event per day. Right now, we've been able to scale to 3-4 events a day.
Oh, wow.
And I don't even go to events.
Don't show your face.
I don't go for events anymore because I've successfully delegated the roles. So that control freaky thing that I was doing before that, how can I do that in 3 places?
So it's important that you train your staff well.
Very important.
So that they can handle the business when you're not available.
When you're not available. You can travel abroad, safe. And everything is going to still work out smoothly. But if you keep on wanting to be the one to do everything, then
you are going to burn out in a matter of time, really. Okay, so tell us about some of the challenges that vendors face. Just being vendors. And how best to navigate them.
Okay, one of the major challenges that vendors face is timing. Timing, because at a point, I had to now put a cap on my time limit. I say 6 hours. Because of the African what they call it, African time in Niger. So an event is supposed to start by, let's say, 12 noon. So I usually ask them, what's your setup time? So they give us a setup time, probably 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. And my workers are already there by probably 8, 9. Count the number of hours. By 12, it's already 3 hours, right? Party now starts around 3. 4. And it's no fault of the host or the hostess.
So whose fault is it? People that didn't come on time?
It's just a Nigerian thing that, am I going to be the first person to arrive at the party? So imagine someone that is like our own now. What we do now is not very perishable. Imagine those doing jollof rice, fried rice, and all that, and you have to now keep that for how many hours? So timing is a major challenge that we have as vendors. So the vendor will have to wait until the party starts.
So how can in the situation where timing, just like as you've mentioned, is a challenge, so how can vendors navigate and walk through that?
Well, it's going to take a while, but we'll get there. In other countries, especially in the West, they charge per hour. In Nigeria here, you cannot try per hour. You can't try per hour. So if we can walk to that level, that we can now start charging per hour.
I think it will even make parties start early.
It will make parties start early. And the host or the hostess or the party planner also have to work on emphasizing the time. Especially on the invitation card.
No Nigerian time.
Yes. My 2 o'clock is 2 o'clock. My 12 is 12. I'm telling you, a party that starts by 12, you see people strolling in by 5. That's like after party kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've been to events where the party is supposed to start by 1 p.m. By 3, the whole place is still empty, and the hostess was already panicking. She was like, people. I said, just calm down. That's what happens. I was also a guest there too. So, and because the lady was my friend, I saw the tension and the way she was just. I told her, I said, calm down. You see them, And guess what?
They rushed in about 5, 6.
There was no seat again. About 5 p.m. there was no more seats.
We'll talk more about this shortly. More conversations with our guests coming up after the break.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
I'm still here with Ogenekewe Omotosho, CEO, Give Me Oh Wow Popcorn and Events. So, Kewe, as an entrepreneur in this event industry, but I just need an encouraging moment.
Oh, okay. One of the high points of our catering was when we catered for the vice president.
Okay.
And that was in 2018 or 2019, thereabouts. So I got a call for, as in like a normal, regular call, that I wanted to cater this, that I didn't know who we're catering for. I gave the regular price, everything. In short, it was towards the end of the year, so we're no longer taking jobs. I don't know, I just felt like, okay, let's just take this, it's just one more. I think it was on the 26th of December, thereabout. I was like, let's just do this one. So I didn't know it was Professor Sibajo's house until the day of the event, when they sent the venue. I was like, wow. Wow. So that one, I went there myself.
I know that feeling.
I was like, I had an event I was supposed to attend with my husband. I just begged my husband, I said, please, this one, I want to go.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So in talking about entrepreneurship, who are some of your inspirations?
Okay.
And why?
Well, my major inspiration, especially in Nigeria industry, is Mrs. Funke Bucknor. Yeah.
Okay.
You see, working with her brand, because we've done some jobs with them, you see that she has set processes in place. The workers are polite. And there's a relationship. So just watching everything that I don't think she even does a lot of work anymore. She has put things in place. I admire the work that she has put into place and the way things are running. I was like, okay, they can have several events in different locations without so much stress and all that. She's a role model.
Okay, give me another one.
Well, there are many others, but I'll mention who will I mention now?
Okay, maybe I should take you off the hot seat. I'll take you off the hot seat.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the future of the events planning industry? Because even though you're a vendor, you're still part of this industry.
Yes.
So from your vendor perspective, what's the future of this industry?
It's growing exponentially, because the demand for events is still, it's on a daily basis. Nigerians.
But I thought the economy was hard.
No matter how hard the economy is, Nigerians are happy people. We must celebrate. One good thing about Nigerians is that we celebrate both our small wins and our big wins. we must celebrate. So another aspect that I see for the event industry is as the growth takes place, there will be more professionalism, more dignity in labor. Because there's some people you see that some guests look down on vendors just because this vendor is probably doing bole and fish, or this vendor is the one doing the juice or whatever it is at the event, and they think that they are below or whatever. Most of these people are graduates. It's because there's no job. So they created jobs for themselves. And gradually, because more educated people are going into this event industry, you see that a lot of changes, evolution going on in this space. And before you know what's happening, abroad, they offer event planning in universities.
Yeah.
But in Nigeria, I don't think there's any school offering event planning. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. So when, as we grow in this industry in Nigeria, you see that there will be more respect for event planners, vendors, and professionalism also for them. They want to improve on what they've learned. They want certifications and all that. And
that's a good one if that happens.
Yeah, very important.
So very quickly, before I let you go, what's your advice to your fellow vendors out there who are pushing, amidst the economic crisis and everything going on in the world right now?
Well, dear vendor,
dear vendor,
dear event planners or event planner, it's tough. It's actually tough, but we keep pushing. We are Nigerians. We never give up. So what I would advise is that you work with what you have until opportunities come for you to grow. Be consistent in what you're doing. You never know who is watching. So whatever you're doing, you wake up, show up for your business every day. Just be good at what you do. Create relationship with your customers. Let people see what you've done for them and also refer you, because referral is a very, very important part of our businesses. Even though we advertise on social media, we do a lot, but referral. So for every job that you get as a vendor, do it with all your heart.
Well, thank you so much again, Ekere, for coming on this episode of Ladies Talking Business.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Ladies Talking Business. Do join us this same time next week for another episode. Don't forget to follow us on PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle on YouTube to catch up with our programs. I'm Moremi Akonwo. See you next time.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of gun.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Are you ready to party right from the comfort of your TV screen? The Rundown's here to save the day. From freshly baked videos to the classics to the youngins and dope conversations, all in one chart. We got you covered. Just tune in to The Rundown every Friday, 10:30 p.m. West African time. The Rundown. Let's turn it up.
Yeah.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
Good afternoon, I am Justin Akadonye and this is the News Brief. The Parents Teachers Association of Nigeria has appealed to the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU to resolve the issues leading to the strike so that students can go back to school as a matter of urgency. The PTA National President Danjuma Haruna said an additional 2-month strike would have devastating implications on the education sector. He called on both ASU and representatives of the federal government to go back to the dialogue table and resolve their problems, adding that not every parent in the country can afford taking his child abroad or to a private university for studies. The Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, is holding an emergency meeting with stakeholders in the sector. The meeting is set to be about low power generation, which has caused epileptic supply across the country. In recent weeks, Nigerians have been feeling the pain of fuel scarcity and erratic power supply. On Monday, the national grid collapsed, causing blackouts across the country. The meeting had in attendance a delegation from the power generation companies, the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN), Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading (NBET), the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, NDPHC, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC), Shell, and other stakeholders in the power value chain. Aliyu said or told stakeholders that they must work together to make electricity stable. According to him, the meeting will find solutions to all challenges affecting power generation in Nigeria. Now, airline operators in Nigeria say they are given 3 days' notice to shut down operations over lack of aviation fuel, as this was the outcome of a meeting rescheduled by the House of Representatives, oil marketers and airline operators on shortage and hike of aviation fuel. Speaking before the Special House Committee, the representative of the airline operators and the Chief Executive Officer of Air Peace, Alan Onyema, said they can no longer afford the product anymore and will be forced to shut down. On his part, the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Mele Kyari, said that at the moment, 19 oil companies are in possession of 88 million litres of aviation fuel in the country, assuring that the corporation will do everything possible in ensuring that the scarcity is resolved for the overall interest of Nigerians. And now to party politics. The People's Democratic Party National Caucus will reconvene to continue discussions on the party's timetable for the 2023 general elections and other important issues tomorrow. The National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologun Agba, announced this while speaking with newsmen at the end of the 41st National Caucus meeting held on Monday night in Abuja. He said that while the caucus meeting had been adjourned to Wednesday, the National Executive Committee and Board of Trustees meeting, earlier scheduled for Tuesday to discuss important issues, would also hold tomorrow. Now, attorneys general of the 36 states have been tasked to ensure effective implementation of autonomy for the judiciary, legislature, and local government. They were admonished by the Nigeria Governors Forum at a two-day meeting in Abuja on Monday. Now, the state's chief law officers were also told to be vigilant to ensure that their state do not fall victims to frivolous cases and others to which they could lose their scarce resources. Now, Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong, who stood in for the NGF chairman, and Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi, told the AGs not to lose sight of the controversy trailing the autonomy for the judiciary and the legislature. Meantime, the Director General of the NYSC, Major General Shaib Ibrahim, has appealed to employers to accept core members posted to them. Ibrahim made a plea at the closing ceremony of the 2022 Batch A Stream 1 orientation course at Damare Orientation Camp, Gire, on Tuesday. Now, the DG, who spoke through the NYSC Adamawa coordinator, Malam Ibrahim Tukur, said core employers were expected to accord priority to core members' welfare and provide them with an enabling environment to develop their potentials. He called on the state and local government authorities, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to give them necessary encouragement for community development. Ibrahim further tasked core members to remain patriotic, hardworking, and resilient, as demonstrated at the orientation course. Now, the DG also called on the core members to embrace the self-employment option because white-collar jobs were no longer easy to get. The family of Karen Hapuch, Andodo Akpara, has dragged the Premier Academy Lugbe Abuja and its owners, including the former managing director of Skybank, Akinshola Akinfemiwa, before an Abuja High Court, demanding for over 10 billion naira for negligence and failure of a duty to care to a 14-year-old boarding student, resulting in her rape and eventual death. Speaking at a press conference organized in Abuja, her mother, Akbara, said the money was for emotional, mental, psychological, and physical stress on the plaintiff caused by her daughter's painful deaths at the hands of the defendant, who owed her the duty of care. She said despite her demand that the police retrieve the CCTV footage of the 15th and 16th of June 2021, which she knows discloses how her daughter was sexually abused and the identity of her abuser, the defendant have chosen to obstruct justice by concealing the said footage.
We are taking them to the Metazone, which led to the red flag. We are asking 10 billion naira damages against the defendants for the breach of duty of care and negligence, which led to Karen's death, and then 10 million naira for emotional and mental stress of myself, and an order from the court restraining the defendants and from harassing myself and then those that are standing by me.
The CCTV footages that we have asked for from the school is footages of 15th and 16th of June. That means within 1 week, within 7 days of the crime being reported. It is not within after the 30 days, which is used as an excuse by the school, that after 30 days their CCTV footages get deleted automatically.
On Street Views, Nigerians narrate their ordeals with online banking. Take a listen.
Some people will borrow money from them. They will lure you that the money you are going to pay is 100,000, that you are going to pay 105,000. At the end of the day, if you default once, they can start charging you exorbitantly. Before you know, they say the one you paid already has gone. So the government they were not proactive at all. They were just reactive over the matter. And they have allowed people to get into it before it goes them. Who gave these people licenses? Where did they get the licenses from? How did they start to operate? In the first instance, again, even if they are operating, where was their source of money? Not by sealing them off. Let us know the source of money.
We are having challenge of you borrow loan, let's assume you have to repay back in a month's time. If you don't pay back, they will start tracing your contact and start telling how fraudster you are and the rest. It's a very bad experience.
I think most of them need to shut down because if someone asks for a loan, the necessary thing for you to do is ask for their details. If anybody is used as a guarantor, you need to find out who that person is, their details, and confirm if they are willing to be a guarantor for whoever is asking for the loan. Because I just got a text message now. He said Rafiat Ali. I don't even know who that person is.
I have bitter experience about them because there was a time somebody borrowed loan. A friend of mine borrowed loan from one of those banks. I won't mention name for now. So I was not called before he borrowed the loan. I was not informed. There was no. I just got a text one day that somebody borrowed loan from me using my name, my phone number, my name as a guarantor. And a text that was uncalled for was sent to me that using as a guarantor that I should try to look for such people, such person. So I have to start calling the friend, and his number is not going to. And most times they use number that you can't reach out to again. So it's something, online loan is something.
Still on the news, Nigerian Association of Women Journalists, NAWJ, Kaduna State Chapter, has called for an end to domestic violence and abuses against women, saying it is one of the major challenges facing moral upbringing in the society and the nation at large. They lent their voices following the increased rate of abuses and maltreatment against the female gender, leading to divorce, single motherhood, and wife battering. Our correspondent, Habila Dorofai's report is presented from our studios.
Over the years, women tend to be the main victims of abuse in marriage and the workplace as it affects their psychological, emotional, and physical feeling. Women activist and author of Despised Treasure, Ruth Goodwin, says, women are priceless treasures that must be cherished by all, and that the alarming rate of domestic violence leading to spousal killing needs to be urgently addressed.
As a girl child growing in Nigeria and Africa, I've seen the plight of women in Nigeria and Africa. We, the women, are supposed to be treasured in our society because we have a lot of potentials. We are full with a lot of potentials. Like I said, we have gold in our prosperity in our womb, gold in our heart, and also riches in our hands. But our society seems not to realize that, and they allow it to waste.
Chairperson, National Association of Women Journalists, NAWJ, Kaduna State Chapter, Comrade Fatima Aliyu, says the aim of the gathering is to create awareness on the plight of women and provide solutions. She urged those involved in domestic violence to always speak out.
My call to them is at least they've started making a move by giving us 35% the bill that has been signed, that women should be given 35%. Once they are giving us this, then women's plight, women's anger will be reduced drastically.
Also, Justice Binta Zubairu of the Kaduna High Court says women are suffering silently because of their financial incapacitation, cultural prejudice, and the fear of what society may say.
You know, marriage certificate is not the path to heaven. It's not. I swear it's not. If you are in a relationship that you are not happy, they are battering you, they are making you ill, you walk out of it. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying marriage is bad. Marriage is good because God Almighty has ordained marriage. And without marriage, there won't be this procreation, there won't be generations. But where you are in a relationship, you are being abused, you are not happy, they are running you crazy, I think you leave. The earlier, the better you live.
It was a sober moment for women as some victims of gender violence shared experiences.
They abuse us physically, emotionally,
The man I had those children for treated me the worst possible way. Drugs, you can come out of it. You are not born with drugs. If you are addicted to sleeping with men, you can actually come out of it. You are not born like that. And I decided to make a U-turn. And today, this is where I am.
They called on the federal government and private organizations to use their various platforms to condemn the spate of domestic violence by promoting peaceful coexistence, especially among couples.
And now to other parts of Africa, Cyclone Gombe has flooded large areas of northern and central Mozambique, killing 15 people. Governor Meti Gondola said the dead include 5 members of the same family in the Angoche coastal area of Nampula province. The Gombe is the most recent of a series of cyclones that have hit southern Africa so far this year. The cyclones have highlighted how most of the fatalities occurred when the cyclone first hit Mozambique's northern coast on Friday last week, and the strong winds and rains caused many houses to collapse. Some coastal districts in Nampula province remained isolated on Monday without power, water, and communication. Thousands of protesters have taken to the street of the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, to denounce the October military coup that plunged the country into further turmoil. Security forces fired tear gas canisters toward the anti-coup protesters. Some of the demonstrators picked up the canisters and hurled them back at security forces. Monday's rally was the latest in a series of protests over the military takeover that removed the civilian-led transitional government. The takeover has upended Sudan's short-lived transition to democratic rule after 3 decades of repression and international isolation under autocratic President Omar al-Bashir. And outside the continent, a court in southern India has upheld a ban on wearing hijabs or headscarves in schools and colleges, a decision that came after protests over the move. Karnataka Advocate General Prabhuling Navadki told reporters that the High Court in the state said wearing the hijab was not an essential religious practice and institutional discipline prevailed over individual choice. The ruling came as a setback to a Muslim female student who had challenged the regional government ban on headscarves. They plan to appeal against the verdict in India's Supreme Court. Now, the controversy escalated after a group of hijab-wearing students were banned from entering a college in the Udupi district in December. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has sounded the alarm over Russia raising the alert level for its nuclear forces after invading Ukraine, describing it as a bone-chilling development. Guterres said the prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility, and also repeated his call for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Guterres, who called for the preservation of the security and safety of nuclear facilities after a fire at the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine, said the UN was going to allocate a further $40 million from its Central Emergency Response Fund to ramp up humanitarian assistance for Ukraine.
Ukraine is on fire. The country is being decimated before the eyes of the world. The impact on civilians is reaching terrifying proportions. And with each passing hour, 2 things are increasingly clear. First, it keeps getting worse. Second, whatever the outcome, this war will have no winners, only losers. As millions of people in Ukraine face hunger and dwindling supplies of water and medicine, I'm announcing today that the United Nations will allocate a further $40 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund to ramp up vital assistance to reach the most vulnerable as we wait for the nations to come. This funding will help get critical supplies of food, water, medicines, and other life-saving aid into the country, as well as provide cash assistance to the needy.
In business news now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has pegged the minimum transaction limit for corporate and individuals transacting with bank-neutral cash hubs at 1 million naira and 500,000 naira, respectively. The banking regulator announced this in a guideline for the registration and operation of bank-neutral cash hubs in Nigeria, which was released on Monday. According to the Apex Bank, it launched the Nigerian cash management system in a bid to reduce costs and improve operational efficiency in the country's cash management value chain, in collaboration with the Bankers Committee. It said one initiative towards the goal is the bank-neutral cash hubs. Now, the Managing Director of Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority, Professor Adesoji Adesuba, has reiterated the federal government's commitment towards ensuring eligible Nigerians are gainfully employed across the country. Adesuba said part of measures put in place to achieve this was the creation of 43 free trade zones across the nation. He added that the trade zones would create employment opportunities and reduce youth restiveness in Nigeria, thereby ensuring the younger generations contribute meaningfully to nation building. Adesuba gave the assurance while speaking in Lagos during the breakfast forum tagged Non-Oil Export, Situation Report and Way Forward, organized by the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. Now, the Federal Ministry of Health has announced plans to fortify rice with micronutrients. The Deputy Director and Head of Micronutrients of the Ministry, Dr. John Uruakba, dropped this hint at the launch of the Nigeria Large-Scale Food Fortification Strategy in Lagos. Fortification is the process of adding key vitamins and minerals which are essential for good health to staple foods like edible oil, wheat, flour, and sugar. About 2 billion people are said to lack enough micronutrients like iron and vitamin A, a greater number among them living in the developing economies. The Ministry of Health said a lot has been achieved in this regard. However, it spoke of new inroads.
Now, federal government is doing a lot through fortification, encouraging large-scale food fortification, whereby we identify the food vehicles we mentioned earlier. At least 8% of families in Nigeria are stand to be corrected, consume rice. Now, government said, okay, in their wisdom, we are going to fortify rice with zinc and iron.
International agencies such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation underscore the need to ensure good nutrition for Nigerians, especially expectant mothers and children. This it has done by partnering local agencies like NAFDAC and the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, among others.
If diets get stressed from factors like food insecurity, poverty, I mean, you consume basic foods like maize flour, salt, oil, and these can be, added micronutrients which help people to get to their opportunities in life and health, and that's important.
But by the time they release it from the factory and it goes into the market, so it has always been very difficult because some of these forticants are sensitive to light. Like vitamin A, is sensitive to temperature.
And the statistics, many of them are quite scary when it comes to the impact of micronutrient deficiency on different population groups in Nigeria. But there are things that we can do, and there are things that we must do.
In Nigeria, owing to bad nutrition, 7% of the children population are said to die before 5 years, a greater number of which are in the poorer northern part of the country. However, the enormous task of food fortification should be embraced by all Nigerians, rather than being seen as the responsibility of relevant stakeholders alone. In entertainment news now, dancehall singer Blackface has declared himself better than the likes of Davido, as well as Grammy-winning artists Wizkid, Burna Boy, and others. The four Plantation Boys artist made this known on a post shared via his Instagram page while reacting to a poster compiled by Heap TV asking their fans and followers who is more deserving of the title GOAT, greatest of all time. Now, the poster held the photos of Olamide, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Davido, Wande Cole, and the bunch with the caption, "Which of these artists, in your opinion, has earned the GOAT status. He wrote, quote, "I'm ahead of them, period." End of quote. Sports news now. Super Eagles coach Austin Eguavoen will drop 2 players from the 25-man squad ahead of their crucial World Cup Qatar 2022 playoff round tie against the Black Stars. The first leg is built for March the 25th at the Cape Coast Stadium, with the reverse fixture scheduled for the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, 4 days later. On March 4, Eguavoen had released a provisional list of 32 players, with 25 players on the main list and 7 on standby. The coach will announce his final squad list of 23 players for the game before the team's departure to Accra, Ghana on March the 23rd. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for watching.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare, Sundays, 7 p.m. on PlusTvAfrica.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on PlusTvAfrica, please call 0906 0005719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news that affects us all. I am Musayome Saleh, and today I'm joined by Nama Efanga. Hello, lady.
Hello. Fellow lady. That caught me off guard a little, so I had to think up on something real quick.
How was your weekend?
Well, it had its ups and downs.
Where is the okay, there was more downs.
Yes, there were a number of downs, but I thought, I had a good outing. Let me put it that way. Yes, and it was
party
fun.
After party.
It was funny. You were on another level, though. I have to put it out there.
I think I've been party starved.
So you just you grabbed it.
All the energy I had, I used it to dance. By the time I got home, all my body, I was walking like. But it was a good. It was
a good one.
Happy birthday again, Tammy Adebulugbe. She turned 40, so
welcome to the 4th floor.
Well, now do well. We are coming behind.
All right.
We are coming behind. All right, so we've lost a lot of time, so we'll just move into the conversation. So we don't know anything about politics, though, but thankfully we have people that are here to educate us. I want to talk about the Amendment Act that was supposed to be passed at the Senate, and they threw off that bill. I think it was on Wednesday, the 15th of March, that bill was thrown away. And we want to discuss that, how it impacts elections and governance. And here's what we found as today's quote. It seems to be impossible to hold a credible election without reforming the electoral system. I think this quote just sits nicely to the conversation. So the bill to amend the Electoral Act 2022 has failed to pass the second reading at the Senate on Wednesday, the 9th of March. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari had written to the upper and lower legislative chambers seeking an amendment to sections 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022 to pave the way for political office holders to serve as delegates. All this grammar, I do not understand it, but we have our friend of the house, Gbadebo Rhodes Viver, is here to discuss the Electoral Act amendment and the impact on elections and governance. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. You are still watching Ways Now. The International Day of Action for Rivers is celebrated every year on the 14th of March to raise awareness about the value and importance of rivers. It also brings people from across the world to discuss and spread awareness about conserving rivers, river management, pollution, and equitable access to clean and flowing water. Now, according to International Rivers Organization, the International Day of Action for Rivers is a day dedicated to solidarity when diverse communities around the world come together with one voice to say that rivers matter. Now, the day raises and spreads awareness about how rivers sustain our lives. It also focuses on restoring and maintaining rivers, as well as on freshwater ecosystem as a source of clean water for irrigation and drinking. So, International Day of Action for Rivers.
It's
very,
a good one,
very
actually.
important.
Very good, because I mean, we have communities where in Africa where we still have the spread of cholera and some of these diseases, waterborne diseases, and it's because of things like this that awareness is being created, that people need to know how important it is to keep our rivers clean. I remember when we were growing up, when we used to go back to the village, and then we'd have some kind of excursion and go to the
swim in the
stream.
river.
Well, I didn't swim because I didn't know how to swim, but we'd just go and play with the water. The free flow of that water, you could see people, they were washing clothes, fetching water. So, I mean,
cooking,
you can't
cleaning.
cooking, cleaning, and all of that. You can't overemphasize the importance of water as it is. So it's also important that people are aware that they need to keep the river banks clean, because that can be a home for diseases to thrive.
So many
So
things.
it's very important.
Especially in Africa, when the river is not flowing, that's where you get to see a pool of, what's it called?
Mosquitoes breeding,
just
and
like
all
when
of
you
that.
have your gutters clogged, mosquitoes and all
Even
of that.
worms, tapeworm, all of, some of those
you know.
deadly.
So I mean, again, this is just to bring to the consciousness of people. Like, I cringe. I'd rather have my car to be really dirty, like inside
Then
my
when
car.
they throw things
like you
out.
take a pet bottle, you take a canned drink, and the next thing just go. Pia. The way the thing,
the snacks
you know,
and things.
the
It
way
has
it
become
just is like a
really
norm.
terrible. As
It's
in
a
people
norm.
are
and
not
all
clean.
these things find their
Hygiene
way
conscious.
to
Of
the
course,
ocean,
of course.
right?
The drainages are blocked, and all of that
They
flows
find
right
their way
into
to the ocean. So
the
we
rivers and
need
the
to be
oceans.
we need to be very conscious of, you know, those things that you think don't matter. If something should go wrong, you would now know how important those things are.
They say it doesn't matter, matters a lot.
Yes, so absolutely. All right, so what did you find for us in the news?
All right, so my news has to do with breastfeeding. I don't know why.
Nice.
Maybe in the spirit of Women's
Are you sure something's not
Month.
calling you?
No. It's calling for other people. So breastfeeding, UNICEF and World Health Organization advocate end to promotion of infant formula. So it said that World Health Organization and the United Nations Children's Fund has called for an end to the promotion of infant formula for producers and health workers. In a joint statement made available on Monday, the organizations decried the adoption of instant formula over breastfeeding by nursing mothers. The statement was based on a report which showed that over 1/3 of Nigerian pregnant women said they received their recommendation to formula feed their children through a health professional. So it said that most of the health professionals are advising mothers, nursing mothers, to breastfeed their children. No, not to breastfeed their children, to actually use formula, because they're trying to promote some of these brands all over the place. But World Health Organization and UNICEF has taken it up to say it's still very important that infant children get most of their nourishment from breastfeeding, and they're encouraging mothers to ensure that they are not gullible to just brands who are trying to promote their products, and give the infants what is necessary for them to have.
It is well. So, Abba Kyari, there was a hearing in court, I think, today.
Yeah.
And as it was, I think that when the judge had pronounced that they take them back into custody, the NDLA officials, a woman identified as his wife, Ramatu, she slumped to the ground, and shortly after that, they had to whisk her away, and that delayed the movement and the conveying of the people back to the NDLEA coffers, their custody, right? You know, everybody knows that Abba Kyari has been linked to drug, what's it called? Drug-related crimes. And so this report, this drama that just happened is coming off of the back of the hearing that was supposed to have happened today in court. So I I like what is going on, that we're beginning to understand that, first of all, that quote that Abacha had said that if crime stays beyond 24 hours, you should just know clearly that the government has a hand in it. And the government, of course, police is also a representative of the government, right? Yesterday, Uti had sent me this story, and I wanted to link it up to this Abakari story so that we understand the gravity of where we are when it comes to drugs and crime in this country. So the particular general overseer of a church, I think, what's the name of this church now? It's called Christ Living Hope Church. That's Reverend Ugochukwu Emmanuel Ekwem, I think that's his name, was arrested at the Murtala Mohammed Airport. He was carrying 54 sticks of wrapped drugs that was wrapped around his body. He was going for a 3 weeks, that's the part that just cracked me up, a 3 weeks crusade in Nairobi, Kenya. So the crusade is distributing drug part of your crusade now. So this popular preacher who has his church headquarters in Magbakwe Road or something, Akwa North in Anambra State, two of the branches in Lagos and Abuja, was arrested, during the outward clearance of passengers on Ethiopian Airlines flight to Nairobi. In the statement by the spokesman, the general overseer arrested with the drugs at the airport, and the NDLEA said that when the drugs were tested, 54 sticks proved positive to cannabis.
Wow.
Now, according to the statement, the clergyman confessed during a preliminary interview that he packed that quantity of illicit substance on his body to use during his 3 weeks crusade in Kenya.
So he himself is a drug addict, or supposedly a drug addict as well.
Oh my God.
It's interesting.
On that same day, another passenger was arrested who arrived at the airport, the Ethiopian airline from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that one was carrying cocaine, about 40 parcels of cocaine concealed inside a bottle of cream with gross weight about 9.7 kg. 3 days later, that is Wednesday, 9th of March, another passenger on the Ethiopian flight I think that flight is known for drug peddlers. This one is Mr. Edo Blessing, was intercepted at the departure hall with about 2,090 tablets of tramadol and flonizepam, or whatever it is the name of the drug is. Bottom line is, drug is a big deal. And now when we're seeing things like this Abakari's story, and it tells you that, first of all, it is not the poor people that are peddling drugs. So you need to understand that a lot of big names will go down when you want to really fight this influx of drug that we have seen in our country. So I'm happy that things like this are happening. We're hoping that Abakari's wife get better. I hear she was asthmatic, so it was like an attack, when she slumped. When she slumped. In fact, the headline was so sensational. I said when she saw 4.2 billion that was traced to her husband's account, almost the babe faint. So is she fainting because she didn't know that kind of amount was in the, or is she fainting for other reasons best known to her?
Maybe the fact that he won't be released on bail that day too was.
Well, whoever is doing crime right now, don't think that the hand of the law will not get to you. So let us just be guided.
It is sad that we are in this state in Nigeria now, where in fact, before you started, I was saying it seems like it's only bad news that's the worst of news that we hear these days.
As well. All right, so on that note, we'll take a break now. When we come back from the break, we want to discuss the Electoral Amendment Act, right, and the impact on governance and the elections. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
The fact that the court said the National Assembly should not tamper with law, the Electoral Act 2022, as amended, except through due process, does not mean that the National Assembly cannot consider the bill. So I think we are not breaching any law. In fact, I want to please appeal to all of us that we are on the right course, and my ruling remains that we are going ahead to consider the proposal, the request, which the leader of the Senate is leading the debate.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, the Senate threw out President Muhammadu Buhari's bill seeking development that effectively stopped its second reading and passage. Now, the bill scaled the first reading on Tuesday, March 8th, despite an order of the Federal High Court, Abuja, that barred the Senate from considering it. Now, the court, in a ruling delivered by Justice Iyang on the ex parte application by the People's Democratic Party, barred President Muhammadu Buhari, Attorney General of the Federation, and the Senate President from tampering with the newly amended Electoral Act 2022. Now, the court maintained that the Electoral Act 2022, having become a valid law, could not be altered without following due process of law. Now, with the 2023 elections getting closer, because that's the one that concerns me, it is important that we pay attention to things like this. And what is the Electoral Act, and how does this impact elections and general governance in general? Now, please, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Should I be asking you a question, or we should just move on?
Let us just go to the professional. I think that was a wise decision.
I have tried to understand this thing, Norma.
I've gone through it.
I have no idea.
I really, this is not my forte.
So why do they make politics so complicated for us? Maybe they should have started teaching us politics from nursery school.
That is the challenge right there. Because in other climes, from the high school,
you already know what
they start. At least the simple details at this, and that's why every American, for example, knows their right.
And he's a friend of the house, and he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, JRV.
Pleasure to be here.
We are super happy to have you.
We are happy to have you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Because this conversation, first of all, I need to understand something. Why, what's the involvement of PDP in this Electoral Act amendment? Because there was a part where they said PDP said that they should not go to, or took them to court or something. What exactly is going on with and what is this, first of all, the Amendment Act, the Electoral Amendment Act, what is it?
Okay, so the amendment was an attempt by the legislature to deepen our democracy. Okay. That is the summary of it. There have been several things that have been going on in our elections that do not have any legal backing. So, for instance, the card reader that we use, we're using it, but it does not have an official legal backing.
A document
to consider overvoting. Normally, there's a total number of accredited voters. That is all the people that have come out that want to vote. So that number, if the total people that vote is higher than that number, there's an overvoting that has happened. Now, the amendment says that that is a factor to consider overvoting. I mean, it's very commonsensical, but it was not in the law. And that always made the whole process of fighting one of, if an INEC officer declares a result under duress, INEC itself can revise that election or revise that actual vote or voter result at that point. Normally, you have to go to the tribunal. So this is empowering INEC. So
INEC.
a lot of their staff that have to declare results because someone is kidnapped or at gunpoint can actually make this complaint, and INEC has the power to revise that. Then there is the legislative backing, I think I've mentioned that, of the card reader, and then legislative backing for electronic transmission of results, which is a major win, and it deepens our democracy, because now from the polling unit, if everybody stays guard and makes sure that the exact results are announced, the officer then transmits it directly to the server. In the article case in 2019, we're always talking about the server, because there was lots of faith in that result that was transmitted, but it was not powered by law. So it could not be admitted into the case. It could not be admitted in court. So these are some major wins. Now, the one that is causing this K-leg now, where it was signed and people now realize how many people were caught off guard or how many people were affected, is the part that says, if you are a political appointee, so you're a minister, you're a commissioner, you're a chief of staff, basically your position was not earned by a mandate or by an election.
It was by appointment.
It was by appointment. You must step down from your position to
before
contest.
you can contest. Okay.
So that then creates a whole new dynamic, and is very, very interesting. So, and there are different people that affects. One, the person that wants to be a politician, that wants to contest, you now will not be running with against a sitting minister that has capacity to have access to funds of a ministry, or a sitting commissioner. He would have had to step down. So those powers that come with that office will be relinquished. So it creates a more fair ground for contest. For contest, not the entirety. I mean, you still have governors that are in position.
Because I was coming there. Yes. There are senators that want to run for governorship.
Yes.
So they will hold their Senate position.
Yes.
And go and run. If they don't win, they just go back to the Senate. If they win, they move on.
No, they cannot go back to the Senate if you think about it, because you cannot contest for two things at the same time.
Really?
So in it, there's a check there. So if you're a senator today, right, your tenure will expire at the same time the governor's tenure is expiring.
Okay,
so you cannot contest for both. You are going to have to take that risk at a point. But as a commissioner, you don't know whether you'll be reappointed or not reappointed. So you are stepping down, you are taking that risk. And there are a lot, and so for those people, a lot of them, their political value is based on position that they hold.
Yeah.
A lot of them, with the way Nigeria is, the moment they step down, people will stop picking their calls.
Yes.
And people will start looking
because
for...
Nigerians were after, we only respect the seat.
Yes. So those people now have to decide whether they're going to take that risk or not. So it gives them a lot more to think about. And then this also then plays out finally with the process of going through the primaries that will produce your presidential candidates. So there's an interesting dynamic that happens in political parties. Delegates, and this is where this comes in. Delegates are people that are political appointment holders, party administrators, and people that want political positions. But in a situation where you have a state that has a governor, you have a lot more delegates there than you do in states that don't have governors, because you have a lot more political appointees. So
when you say by political appointees, you're talking
commissioners, special advisors, all of those people.
All of those people belong to the political party.
Yes.
So they will now be part of the delegates.
Yes.
So if, for instance, we are in Lagos State, this is currently being run by APC.
APC, yes.
There's also PDP that is trying to come out in Lagos State.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, if they do the convention, the delegates for APC will be much more than a PDP. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so now so the convention is within the party.
Yes. Okay.
Right, so it separates it. Okay. So for instance, let's use your example. The delegates that will come out from Lagos for the APC will be much more than delegates that will come out of Anambra, because that is not an APC state. You understand?
Okay, now I get you.
Yeah. So now when you now look at the total number of delegates in the entire country, right, everyone is now determined by power block. So if your state has a governor, in that state, you have more delegates, you can influence more who the presidential candidate that will
You like
emerge
it
in your party.
So that's why you see a lot of decamping and reshuffling
Exactly.
before
taking place.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
the
by
elections.
doing this now, you're creating an even playing field between states that have governors and states that don't have governors. So it's a very,
So what
very,
did
that
they do
one
now?
paragraph.
So tell me what they did with the delegate.
So basically, they're saying that if you want to be a delegate, you need to step down from your office. If you want to keep your office, you cannot come to a convention and vote or be a delegate. So that's pretty much it.
So when you're voting, you're not voting as a delegate. You're just voting as a member of a party.
Yes, but then there are certain elections that you have to have the power to participate in. There are rules that govern it. So for you to emerge as a delegate, you're either a former candidate, a sitting House of Rep, senator, administrators of the party.
Positions,
I mean, it's really rigorous. It's not something that is just wishy-washy. But now they're saying if you're a political appointee, you cannot be a delegate and you cannot be in position and run for office.
Wow, this is serious.
So they pull something there.
So is this what we have now, or
Yes.
this is what they are trying
This
to
is what
upturn?
they
No, this is what we have now. That is what President Buhari
Has
is trying
signed to law.
Has signed to law, and that was what he's trying to upturn.
He is the one trying to.
That's what his letter is saying. His letter
wow.
is saying that for him, you are disenfranchising the people in position. So that is what his letter is saying.
This is interesting.
And the Senate is saying no.
See why we love you. You are educating us. Are you kidding?
This is
okay,
it.
so it is actually them trying. So this is what we have currently.
Yes.
It means that we will see some level of fairness in
Oh
2022
yes,
elections.
I have to give it to the Senate. There's been a significant effort to almost create a legacy, almost as though almost the same way you saw Goodluck Jonathan in power putting a card reader, into our politics. That's
Some
was
form
not.
of transparency.
Yes, it was. By default, it does not work in your interest by creating that kind of transparency. But it was done to deepen democracy, and I'm happy to see the Senate take this step as well. It's something to be happy about.
So what is the impact of this Electoral Act amendment? What does it, I mean, you said already that it's going to be a way forward, so to speak. What other ways is it going to transform elections in Nigeria and governance in general?
It is going to transform election. Okay, so governance, I always say, is a direct reflection of the process by which people got into power.
Okay.
If a politician bought his way into power, it's very unlikely that he'll be accountable to the people. And when people feel that a political process does not really get their voices heard, or they feel that their votes don't count, then you find that there's voter apathy and people don't really participate. So all of these things coming together to define the outcome of the political process. But the political process itself, once there's more transparency, once people feel that there's a lot more, relevance to their votes, to coming out, then they'll participate more. And it's deepening the process in several ways. Let me give you an example. I was part of the election committee for the Ondo State elections in the PDP. And I remember at night we're collating results off the INEC server.
Okay.
So, and we're tallying it with our results. And in my experience, when I was there, it was tallying. So, normally, you have your election happens at your polling unit. And then that polling unit result is taken to your ward. Now, from your ward, it goes to a local government. Then they announce a result that, okay, these are the people that won in this local government. Those results are then taken to the State Collation Center where they announce the governorship results. Now, it's at the ward collation that you start to see all the magic. Where deliberately there's never lights at the collation center.
torchlight.
There'll be a generator. They'll say generator stop
fuel.
working.
No fuel.
Then you have security personnel that will come in and chase people out. All that kind of things can now be avoided because directly from the polling unit, results are transmitted.
Right.
So you as a voter have to just stand at that polling unit and make sure the
That
results
is being transmitted.
that are being
was
transmitted
counted is what is being transmitted.
it.
So it means that the magomago that might happen,
is reduced significantly.
yeah, if at all it will happen,
It will happen at
the
that
people will
polling
see
unit.
it and they will not want to do
Exactly,
that.
happen at that polling
Yeah.
unit.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back from the break, it's getting interesting. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we are having an, you see, for me to be talking politics and smiling, you know that I'm having an amazing time with GRV, and we're discussing the Electoral Act Amendment, and we're asking what the impact is on elections and governance, right? And please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I didn't think that in my lifetime I'll be smiling with with political conversations, but I'm really enjoying the flow of the conversation. So help me out now, right? Because you mentioned voter apathy, which is one of the biggest issues that we've had in elections, where we feel like, okay, you know what, my vote will not count, and all of this. With this somewhat transparent system or structure that is being put in place, you know, what do you see? How do you see the 2023 elections turning out to for us as a nation?
I feel that if people can key into this, you know, it's one thing to do something positive, it's another thing for people to key into it or to have faith in it or believe it. If people key into it, we'll have a significant number of transformational leaders that would emerge from 2023 election. Mainly because now you have a situation where your votes start to count. You start to see the real results that have been happening every 4 years. You start to see what was really happening, what were the real patterns. Exactly, because you always hear things like, this party wins this thing. It's just something that they did. They rigged them out. Now we'll see if truly they have been rigging people out. At the same time, I think that politicians will now have the strength to put their all in because they believe they have a potential possibility to actually win the election. Let us not also be negligent and just think that we have reached the promised land. Obviously, there are still, if you are voting and then some thugs come and just scatter everybody, chase everybody away, and it's just the agent there with the thing, whatever they vote at that point is still what they will transmit. But as part of that law that says that an officer declared something under duress, you just have to get that officer to admit that it was under duress, and that vote there will be cancelled. But now there's a technicality to that because they will come and scatter where you are strong.
Yes, because I was coming there, because when you say declare under duress, they can tell the officer you declared because it's not the candidate that they want to win that is winning. You're gaining ground against a particular party.
So there'll be all sorts of technicalities.
How do we make sure that doesn't happen?
That's the work of the party. That's the work of the party agents. That's the work of intelligence within parties, because people are constantly looking for how they'll do things that are negative and
always
spoil
want
it.
to upturn, yeah.
You also want to make sure that what is good comes out as good. So that's the work of also
Interesting,
machinery.
Jarvie. So,
what
is the, sorry my darling, I want to ask one question. What is the proof that, or what is the relief that we should have that some president will not come tomorrow and say this thing, you know what, it's not working, I have to upturn it? Because clearly this doesn't suit a politician, really, in the sense of it, based on what you've said. So how do we make them see this vision that, we want to clean up our electoral system, and nobody will come up tomorrow and say they want to upturn this?
I think that's a mistake to think that it doesn't suit a politician, because it was a entire legislative house full of politicians that pushed this thing through. You know, sometimes God they say God works in mysterious ways. You know, sometimes things. See, I think that anybody that fundamentally gets into politics comes in with a love for country. The people have to do that, right? But he felt it's important to deepen democracy, and every government that comes in owes it to themselves to deepen democracy. So I do not see, just the way they've not upturned the card reader, I don't see this happening. I mean, it took a lot to get to this point. I don't see it happening. I believe that it will be further deepened. And see, this is the story of every country, every institution in terms of internationally that we look at and we clap for them. They did not start this way. In America, they were buying votes the way we are buying here. It was up for the highest bidder. They were overvoting. But through a process, over a period of time, and people believe in democracy, they clean it up. And politicians will work with the system you give them. If tomorrow you say that all of them should be, you must have a master's degree to run, you say everybody go back to school.
By hook or by crook.
So they will work with the system you give them, because either way it makes it more fair for everybody. So okay, if this is a new way you want to do it, let's do it that way.
Awesome.
I mean, for the everyday Nigerian, what does this mean for them?
It means that you have a more transparent election process. It means that your voice and your vote is going to count a lot more. It means you should take elections seriously and you should get involved, because it is I tell people, every 4 years, you get one chance, one day, to mark and let the politicians know how you have been treated and what you think of them. If you decide, it's their score sheet, and to appoint new management or to keep the management. And if you want to neglect that, you just have to take the consequences of the next 4 years.
Absolutely.
Right? So now you have a system where your voice is going to count a lot more. So you have to take that chance and, get involved.
Okay, so good evening, my beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? I want to lay emphasis on the so-called general overseer who was caught traveling to Nairobi, Kenya with 54 wraps of cannabis for a crusade by name Reverend Ugochukwu. In my own view and understanding, I don't think this man is a true man of God. I think he is a world-class ritualist or a fake man of God. A real and true man of God cannot do this. He should be made to face the music as an example to others who claim to be men of God. Sister Norma, you are very much welcome. We missed you a lot and still looking beautiful as ever. This is from Daniel Elo, your regular fan. Thank you so much, Daniel. Okay, everybody's saying, well, it's looking beautiful. This is not the conversation. Thank you. I look beautiful.
All
Thank you. Yeah,
okay,
Norma,
so I have a comment here. It says, Uwa, my sister. For emphasis. It concerns all of us in Nigeria. Amendment of the Act was the right thing to do as to strengthen our very fragile democracy. I have never liked Buhari, but because he signed the bill, though after too many cried out from every angle in the country, getting it right begins with a process. Our democracy has to grow. Perfect and sensitive topic tonight. God bless you all at Ways. This is from Bobby Kennedy from Jalingo, Taraba. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much.
So I like to see, let's paint a scenario, right? 2023 is just right around the corner. How would this play out for people? Because, for me, I think every Monday I try as much as possible to to stir up conversations that will get people that are just like indifferent, right? Understand that it's not longer business as usual.
Exactly.
Because based on what you've said, I'm excited because it means that truly things will change, you know. So what's the typical scenario going to look like come 2023 at a polling unit, or, you know, maybe let's say a state government election? What should that look like?
I think that you're going to have a credible election. Honestly, when I look at the Lagos election in 2019...
You sound very optimistic.
No, yeah, because when I look at Lagos election in 2019, yes, there was violence in some places, but relative to the total number of polling units, it was generally a peaceful election. There were maneuvers that happened at night, like I've given you instances of, because people just start adding zeros to tens, making tens hundreds, making 5, 54, and all of that, 59. But these things are now done away with. The whole idea that you are going to win at the collation center has changed. Your victory starts at your polling unit and is transmitted directly to a server. And you are keeping track of that. So we are becoming more digital as well, which is also allowing for more innovation in our politics. That's the first thing. The second thing is, a lot more people should understand that you have your right to stay at that polling unit and make sure that the result is announced. Because I've seen where, even in this Lagos, in Amodofi, people stood and we won. PDP won.
Yes, now. But even 2015 elections, we were there under the rain. We were there till late 2 a.m. We were there. We said,
you see, so when people do that, you see your results. And you see places, for instance, in Oyo State, where the people decided, Ibadan people decided that they want Shey Makinde.
Yes.
That is it. So when the people stand, there's no rigging that you are going to do. And now that this process has gotten more transparent, deeper, and even people are now, so even if they try and do any magu-magu, you are now in a stronger position to challenge it in court. Because they've done so many things to make that process much more easier.
So you can admit certain kinds of evidences in court.
Exactly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a positive for our electoral process now. Now, most Nigerians should now be ready to vote in 2023. I advise people, especially the youth, to get their PVCs as votes will now count. So let's talk about PVC for a minute, right? There are people that have location problem.
Yes.
You know, and I've advised, based on experience, let's go and find where we will sleep, where we are coming from, so that we just vote. Because again, so it's one thing that the amendment has been done, right? But, you know, PVC still remains one of the biggest issues, right? So my PVC was stolen after the 2015 elections. Okay. I have done the police reports and everything. I was supposed to go and get it. They said, no, go to this, do online. So I'm in the process of trying to renew. Okay. But how can we get people's permanent voters card to come out swiftly, early, that we're not waiting? Yes. Some people have moved locations. They're no longer in the place, residents, you know. What can we be saying now, right, to INEC? Because it's one thing for us to say, go and vote. People are ready now. They are gingered. Okay, there's a new electoral act, but the PVCs are still a big issue for us. You know, we're not able to access our PVCs. We're not able to move locations for people that are relocated and all of that. You know, so how do we start to get?
Okay, so first I would advise people to visit the CVR website and just familiarize themselves with the services that are on there, because INEC did a good job with that. Awesome. You can go on there, transfer your location.
And it will come out before the elections?
It should.
It should.
It depends on when you do it, right? You can go on there, transfer locations. You can decide the polling unit that you want to vote. You can request for a replacement card. You can create a whole new application. So this is good. But it's only a first step. You still need to go to the INEC office and do your capturing, right? So, and also from that online portal, you can then get a scheduled time to come. So when you go there, you're not wasting time, which is good. Unfortunately, because we've been doing lots of voter registration drives all across Lagos, most of those appointment schedules are now booked full, so you cannot go. you cannot go in there to do that. But I advise people to go to INEC, right? Because INEC offices. And as the media and as activists and as political players and actors, we must start to put pressure on INEC. Because there are a lot of things that happen. You know, see, voter apathy, and not just apathy, suppression, does not start at the polling unit. Does not start with thugs. It starts with if you have an Igbo name, your voter's card is not found at the local government. And this is a major problem, especially in Lagos.
Yes.
It starts by just having a whole number of voters' cards being given to political actors of a ruling party, right? And they just hold it. So those people are disenfranchised, they cannot vote.
So, JRV, how do we hold them accountable? So do we have like, so for instance, you are running for an office,
Yes.
you know, in 2023.
Yes.
Do you have like a team that people can say, you know what, I can come to you, you know, because imagine if you have agents to make sure that we are taking it step by step, you know,
Yes.
because we need to start having those
Yes.
soldiers.
Yes.
Are there places that people can go
Yes.
to say, you know what,
To
this is my
report their
issue, I want to
cases.
report the issue, and they can now, you know, because they know that if you take it up, for instance,
Yes.
there will be a lot of
So I'm the leader of the Our Lagos movement, and like I said, we've been doing severe exercise across Lagos.
Yes.
We have places in Ikeja, in Alimosho, in Agege, in Etiosa, and we are expanding. So what we're doing is, as we are helping people register, we're keeping a database of these people so that we'll follow up with them. We're going to be following up
to make
sure that they get their cards, and we're going to also put pressure on INEC. You see, the reason why this Electoral Act was signed was because everybody with one voice was speaking to Bryce saying, you need to sign this. Now he has done that. We now need to take that same energy and put it on INEC.
Yes.
Right? There must be a transparent process by which people should know their voters' cards are ready. Because now when you go there, they give you a date when you can come and pick your voter's card. But there must be a feedback loop that says, I came and I got it.
Yes.
Not it just disappeared. Because we are moving to a more digital, and these are exciting times.
Very exciting. But I was going to come to that. I have a question for you there. But let me take this comment from Gift Offer from Luanda. She says, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. If I miss it, we're thanking him for breaking down what the Electoral Act Amendment is all about. Keep glowing, ladies. Thank you so much, Gift. Everybody is loving, because these things, sometimes they make it too complicated.
Yes.
And for the average person, it's
you know?
very difficult to just understand. We're breaking it down now. It makes it easy for me to know, okay, this are my own personal responsibilities towards the election.
I was going to say that because, you know, you say thank God for technology, but you know, say Nigeria, they don't tell us say that server don't crash.
Network, there's no network.
How do we guarantee that server?
Considering the amount
because
of
that
money,
server now, there will be a lot of hackers.
That is true.
Yes. So how do we?
Considering the amount of money that INEC is spending on this, I expect that they have proper security protocols. I mean, these are not things that INEC is making by themselves. I imagine that they are consulting with the American electoral systems and European. They visited all these places. Collected per DMs.
You're living in 1250.
But the point is,
so we are finished voting. Server crash. What is the way forward?
Well, you have your polling unit results now.
Okay.
We go back to court.
Go back to the what's it called, the
polling system.
You go back to the system that will be
electronic transmission of the results.
Yes.
Right? So
which is what we are trying to avoid.
No, but I'm just saying, because anything is Nigeria. Anything can happen. So tomorrow they can say to you that, because based on the numbers that they are seeing, they can say to you that the server crashed. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Yeah. So we'll go back to the local this thing. But I was going to say that, can we not get to that point? You know, the way in the US, you're just seeing the state turning to blue.
No, we will get there.
But you know, but to be fair, you see, I think we will get there with what we are going now.
Yeah.
We hope to get there, because from your TV station, you can be actually collecting results, right? You can actually be seeing it live as it's being uploaded. So I think that's very, very possible in the near future.
What happens to those in diaspora? How does this affect those in diaspora and being able
Have they been able to
No,
find
diaspora,
a way to get them to
no. It's a big challenge, and it's also a two-way street, because one, diaspora contributes so much money into our system. It's only right that they also have a say in what's going on in the country, because if the government was managing, if the government was managing the country much better, they won't have to be sending that much money to Lagos to take care of family and welfare and all of that. So that's one. Two, how do you manage that process? How do you manage the identity that this person is indeed a Nigerian? How do you manage all of that?
But how did they do it in the U.S.? They went to the U.S. embassy. The Americans living here went to the embassy. So is it possible that
we can have credentials?
So why are we not pushing for that? Or is not time yet for that?
I think that they are overwhelmed a little with this ones that they've pushed. I'm sure that'll be the next frontier. I mean, like you said, go to the embassy until they start rigging there.
That's true, but if we do open a portal, just the way you said that, and they did a fantastic job, because I went on the CRV portal, CVR portal for the INEC. They are doing a fantastic, the interface is quite nice and all of that. We can actually have, all you need to do, as long as you're a legal citizen there, you have your passport there, right? You can upload and create a profile. And when it's time for elections, you just send in your votes. It's possible that you can go online and say you just click on the party. You don't have to. These things can actually be done.
It's political will.
But it's the willpower. So
it's the political will.
What gives that, somebody will not come out tomorrow and say, no, I don't have the will to do this. Let's just go back to how things
It's also our role.
So we
need to push it. We need to pressure it. Politicians are constantly looking to what the citizens are saying, what matters to them, what's important to them. If the diaspora come together and also are working on people that they keep sending money to, let us put pressure on these people. 2027, we must have a say, we must be voting. Eventually, that will happen. Because the people that will champion those things will be in favor with those people. Their elections most likely will also be funded by those people. So it's about coming together and making your voices heard.
Awesome. Do you have any final words for us?
I feel that this is a very exciting time to be in politics, to be a citizen, because citizenship comes with responsibilities. And there's no better time than now to get involved and let your leaders know how you feel about the way they've managed the country and what you want to see, your aspirations and your hope for this country moving forward.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure. Oh my God.
Thank you.
We just went to governance. We went straight to 400 level. We didn't even start from 100 level. Governance 400. But thank you so much, JRB. We had a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Nama. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements online. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Thank you to everyone that sent in their messages and comments. We love you too, All right, so if you missed today's quote, here it is again. It seems to be impossible to hold a credible election without reforming the electoral system. So for us to go further and have a credible election in this country, some of these amendments are very critical, and we're happy that it's coming to light. So we know that more and more of that will come for us, hopefully. All right, we'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Reading is an essential habit and a culture that must be developed. Nigerians are generally believed to have a poor reading culture. The role of government in promoting reading and equipping reading spaces and libraries in Nigeria cannot be underestimated. But first, we must look at the development of reading habits from the home and the role parents play in encouraging their children.
My parents, my mom used to be a teacher, so reading was obviously part of a curriculum. And then my father used to be a professor and is an author. So I started reading very, very early, and I started reading books that were higher than my age grade. I was reading African Writer series from age 7, age 8, and reading encyclopedias by that time. So obviously my parents had a huge part and encouraged that in me.
In the Nigerian book market, there's a high influx of foreign authors writing for children, but very few Nigerian authors telling relatable, homegrown Nigerian stories.
If you start out reading stories even to your baby, even before they're 1, and then as they get older, buy appropriate materials that are colorful, with easy to read words, and read with them. I think that helps.
Adedotun Enyade, a co-founder of Robin Heights, a leading bookstore in Nigeria, has tips for Nigerian authors and how they can improve on their work and get into the hearts of readers.
The story has to be good, right? If you're writing, whatever you're writing, if you're writing fiction, if you're writing non-fiction, it has to be really, really compelling, one. The next thing would be in terms of the packaging, right? People have gone past the era where you just take your books with just about any printer to print for you. I think, publishers, self-published authors as well, they need to invest in ensuring that the quality of the book, the final output is one that would, stack up with any book, published, elsewhere in the world. So that's really important. Then I think, what would be the most important tip for me to them would be just, they need to invest in marketing.
The book business, like any other business, is challenging.
If you ask anyone who's running the business in Nigeria, they will tell you capital, of course, right? Book selling is also, as with any other business, is also quite capital intensive. Getting to pay your rent, getting to actually buy the books and stock up your shelves when you have them. Hiring good people requires decent amount of capital. So I would say it's getting the startup funds to set up something, and then if you're looking to do it at scale like we're hoping to do, then it also requires you raising funding, which isn't readily available in commercial banks, right? I don't think a bank would say they want to give you a loan to set up a bookstore. They probably will be skeptical about the number of people who read. So for us, I think it's just I would say capital is at the top of the totem pole.
It is commendable that certain individuals and organizations are making concerted efforts to revive the reading culture in the country. The government should also redesign the school curriculum to incorporate more reading activities in primary and secondary schools.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Today on the Justice Court, the plaintiff, Maria Adekunle, is asking the court to compel Anthony Nyang to vacate her apartment.
All rise. Court in session. Honorable Judge Fumi Asaolu presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, This case is between Adekunle versus Anthony. Party is one of us.
Thank you, Akin. Let's go. Adekunle.
Honorable.
You brought Anthony Yang to court.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to me why you are here?
He's happens to be my tenant. I'm standing here in the respect of my mom.
I noticed that she gave you a power of attorney to come and represent her in court today. Go ahead.
So it was an old building. And we noticed that last year, some tenant complaints, even the one opposite his room, the room is leaking. Other places are leaking. So we decided to call out the tenant and tell them that we need to put a major repair on this building and everybody should be getting ready to leave the premises. So after the talk, we have a mutual understanding among the tenants. Some have left since past 6 months. The place is left there. Nobody occupied it. One also just left this month. Others have left too. So
how many tenants are left in the premises?
We have about 7.
Still occupying the premises?
Yeah, there is a room at the parlor, 2, and there are bus quarters.
They are there?
They are there.
Okay.
But like I said, some have left.
Okay.
So we also informed him, and when he's not, he also occupied, he also has some people who are living with him, he's collecting money from him, but we don't bother about that. So when we told him, he sent those people away, and those who gave us a feedback that he said he's not going to leave, that...
they are not here, that's AC.
Okay, so we realized that he's not trying to cooperate. So I decided to inform the lawyer. He was given a 3-month notice because he paid 6 months. So after the 3-month notice expired, when we gave him the 3-month notice, before then he was owing 6 months rent. So he come up with the money. So I told him that it's not about the money, we are giving you a quick notice, that we want to carry him. I informed the lawyer. The lawyer said I should collect the money since that is what he was owing before. But I called him. I said, look, have the money back. Add money to this money and look for an apartment. And I returned the money back to him. After the 3 months, we gave him 7 days notice. He expired by January till now. He said that he's not going to leave, that he's offering the money. So it's not about money. So I decided to...
He said it was?
He said he's offering us the money that we are the one that refused to collect the money.
It's your money. You are right. You have the right to collect the money. And that doesn't still stop you from evicting the tenant.
That was after the 3-month notice.
Doesn't matter. What the law says is for every day he spends in that house, he's mandated to pay rent for that period. Even when the rent has expired, if he's still living there, for every day that he occupies the premises, that's a tenant. Not just him, any tenant is the law. So that's why when you calculate the rent, then you calculate on pro rata basis the number of days that were spent in the house after the rent expired. You calculate it and add it to the sum. And the court give judgment on that. So what happened, Mr. Yang?
Good afternoon, everybody. Madam, I live this man house.
Who is Madam?
I live for the man house, in Mama house. It's for family house. He's not my landlord. I have my landlord who I pay the money for. He just come about last year ago. He just took over for his brother. Since he take over, he just start to give me stress every time.
What kind of stress?
Sometimes he tell me I will live for 2 rooms. Sometimes he give me stress like that. The first time, he give me the quick notice. I go back in senior brother. He collect the quick notice from my hand. He settled that one. His son, I sick about July, so I have to pay him money for almost 1 month. Almost 1 month, in fact, 1 month while I owe him. I tell him I'm sick this month. Next month, in July, I'll give him money. And we reach July ending on 30. I call him, say, Baba, give me your account number. I'll transfer the money for you. After he enters, he bring the account number for me. I will bring the account number. Around 1 hour time where money enter for my around 1 hour time or 2 hour time. He served me penalty again from the lawyer. I said, why you can you give me the 2 options? You give me account number, you give me quick notice.
You see, you are not clear to me. You paid 6 months.
Yes,
that 6 months you paid it. When did you pay the 6 months?
I paid 6 months around April time. The first 6 months, the first
April
bus.
last year. That 6 months is for which period?
For the first period, while from
June.
From June to
So for May, June, July, August, September.
Yes, I paid this month.
All
One
right.
pay another batch again on July. So I have to pay on June. Okay, I call him and say, I'm sick. Where is the ending? I call him and say, give me an account number. I pay money for you. Is he need a collect card?
That's for another period.
Yes, another period.
Okay.
Well, he give me an account number. I collect account number for him. He never reached 2 hours, 30 minutes time. He give me the quick notice. It's in on program. You say, you can't say one turn to your 3-bedroom flat. I said, I cannot turn your house to 3-bedroom flat. We no come single one day, say one turn to your 3-bedroom flat. He said, lawyer, I join money there. Go find the house. So I can, you know what, you know my pocket, where I have the money, I can join to find the house. From that day, I started battle till this time around.
So, your own stand is, after your money, the rent you paid expired, you paid into the accounts.
I never paid into account before. Because I give Mama the money. You get one doing tell me, say, man, I pay, why I pay for abroad? I say, I don't pay for abroad now. If you abroad, I pay for me, I know that I did Nigeria now. I can only pay the money as abroad will pay.
The last rent you paid is for which period?
The last one you pay, I started to pay on April till October. That one will finish.
Last year?
Last year, yes.
After that, what happened?
After that, you know, collect the money, return the money for me.
That's what I'm saying. You, after the expiration of the first one, that is 6 months you paid for, you were ready to pay for another period.
Another period.
And they did not take the money from you.
The money from my hand.
But they gave you notice to quit.
They give me 3 months notice.
When were you served that notice to quit?
He served me that notice on July.
July. August, September, October.
Yes.
Right. What they have done is the legal way to evict a tenant from the house. And even those 3 months and the other months up till now, they are entitled to still collect the rent for that period. There is no law that says a tenant can leave the landlord's house for free. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
There is no law that says a landlord cannot evict a tenant anytime for any reason when he's ready to use his premises. Is there any law that stops a landlord for having recovery of his tenants? Unless, there's only one condition. The process to evict the tenant must be complied with. They can't just wake up one day without giving you notice and throw your things out. Do you understand?
I understand.
But they have given you the requisite notices. You said it yourself, the 2 notices, they've given it to you. So, they've made it clear to you they don't want you as a tenant in that house any longer. And for that reason, they've not even collected the rent they are entitled to even collect from you. So what else do you want them to do? You want a situation where that place will be sealed up and the sheriff will come there and throw your stuff out of the house and probably even take all your stuff for auction to pay up what you are owing. Is that the procedure you want? I'm asking you.
Yeah, ma.
So what stops you from giving up possession? Is it your house? I'm asking you.
Not my house.
Did you sign an agreement that you live in that house forever?
No.
The plaintiff, Maria Adekunle, has served Anthony the 2 quick notices required by law, but Anthony refuses to vacate his rented apartment. He claims to be prompt with his rent payment and said the caretaker is always giving him stress. Judge Fumi wades into this matter.
And you are lucky. It's not even requesting, because part of the claim in court, they are not asking you to pay for every dime that is outstanding. Otherwise, I award the judgment. It's what the law says.
you must pay. Unless the landlord gives you that discretion that he doesn't want the money. So you're just wasting the time of the court. When are you ready to pack out?
Give me time. I'm looking for it. Give me time.
You can't wait forever. Do you understand? He can't wait for you. It's not his business. And that's why the court is there to evict you, as I told you. It will only take 3 hours to get you out of that premises. So if I'm asking you when you want to leave, it's just a privilege. It's not your right. Do you understand?
I understand.
So let me know when you want to leave. If you don't give him a time that is acceptable to him, then the court will start its process and
They didn't give me 3 more hours. I can myself.
What?
3 more hours. I
talk to him if he agrees. I'm not your landlord. That's your landlord. So you beg him and ask him. Because right now you are begging for it. You don't have the right to it. So talk to him.
Give me 3 more hours.
I'll give you 3 months.
I'll give him 3 months. You see, it's all about manner of approach. This matter does not have any business being here. If you had approached him the proper way, he didn't waste time before granting you the 3 months. Do you understand?
I understand.
So you change your attitude. Work on it. Do you understand me? So you have to move out by, you agree that you move out by ending of May. That's 3 months' time. I'm asking you.
Yes, that is 3.
Okay.
Judge Fumi helps both parties to reach amicable settlement. After the break, Judge Fumi rules.
So judgment for the plaintiff. The tenant, that's the defendant, is to vacate the premises by 31st of May, 2022. Judgment for the plaintiff.
All rise. Hold on.
Continuing, the plaintiff, Kelechi Pekulia, is asking the courts to compel Hilary Ugwagu to be responsible for their child.
All rise. Court in session. Honorable Judge Fumi Asaolu presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, this case is between Kelechi Pekulia Madu, parties for notes.
Pekulia, Kelechi. Can you tell me why you are here?
It all started the year 2020. I was dating a guy and I got pregnant.
What's his name?
Hilary.
Hilary who?
Ugwagu.
Okay.
And I got pregnant, so I didn't know I was pregnant. It was 3 months going to 4 months. When I realized I was pregnant, I called him and I told him I'm pregnant. Then he said, okay, fine. Then I invited him over. My mom was not home then. So he said, what he said was, why didn't I tell him the day I was pregnant, the first time I knew I was pregnant? I told him no. I just get to know last week that I was pregnant, that I didn't know I was pregnant before. Now he said it's a lie, that I wanted to use the pregnancy to trap him down. I said, for what? Okay, fine. Then when my mom didn't know up until 4 months. When my mom finally knew, she invited him over. So, and for him to come, it was as if we're begging him to come. So when he finally came, after 2 weeks, anytime my mom calls him to come, he will say, I'll come, I'll come, I'll come. So it was more than 2 weeks before he came. Then he came at night. When my mom told him, so how are we going to do about this pregnancy stuff? He then said, since the pregnancy is there, that I should keep it and he's going to take responsibilities for the pregnancy and everything. So on the day of the delivery, not even on the day of the delivery, 2 days before the delivery day, which was on Monday, I called him and told him, I'm in the hospital. Oh. I'm in labor. I'm in labor. I've been in labor for 3 days now. And I told him to send money. I think I was going to deliver freely like that. And I told him to send money for delivery. He said he doesn't have any money right now. I said, okay, fine. But you told me you would save up some money to at least to send me for the delivery. He said, since he didn't save money, that he's owing his landlord rent, his this, his that he has so much expenses to me. I said, but I'm carrying your child and you're not talking anything about it. You're not saying anything. He just hung up the call and immediately he blocked me. Whenever I asked him for something like that, he would just block me. I said, okay, fine and good, since you've blocked me. I didn't go to his house because I was working. I was trying to work and raise money. Then I didn't go to his house. When in the hospital that day, my mom called him and told him, let's pay the hospital, let's pay half of the bill. He said, no, he doesn't have money. Then he told my mom so many things. I said, okay, fine. Told my mom to leave him alone. The next thing, when the doctor came and told me I was going to deliver with operation, then I asked her the price. She said, 250. I was like, 250 for what? For just operation? She said, that's the price. I said, okay, fine. Then that night, my mom went and borrowed that night, my mom went and borrowed 100,000 from one woman that does Lapo. So after giving birth, January last year, on the 13th, before we left the hospital, the woman said, we have to pay up the hospital bill. So I gave birth on Wednesday, 9/15. That was when I gave birth. Last year, we should pay up the bill before leaving. I said she can't let us go. I said, okay. Then they'll think I'm a bad person or I want to use their money for something. Then I'll just open up my dress and show them that I just had operation 1,000. I even begged and told, if anything you have, just give to me just so I can leave the hospital. Okay, finally, when I gathered all the money, it was remain 30,000 naira. I begged the woman. I knelt down and begged this woman that I would give her money the following week. She said no. Then my BP that was normal, that was 100, just raised up into 170. I almost died in front of the woman and she was saying nothing to it. And it was when I got home, there was nothing at home to eat. There was nothing. We're calling this guy. He wasn't picking his call. Nothing. The next thing he said, because I didn't reported him to a cousin of mine. My cousin called him to ask him what happened. Then he said, how sure am I the baby is, how am I sure the baby is mine? I was like, hey, how sure? So I didn't say anything after then. I said, okay, fine. If you don't want to do something, just say you don't want to do something instead of you denying your responsibilities, denying the child. Okay, I had to start work February. That was still bleeding, but I had to start work because it's not easy. You're going to beg people for food and they will just start insulting you. So that's what happened. So I called this guy. When I saw when after some months, I saw his picture on Facebook because he blocked me. I saw him posting a girl's picture saying he's finally off the market. I said, for where? Finally off the market, care. You can't go free, oh. Okay, you want to have another responsibility, and you having one with me you don't want to take care of. It's a lie. You have to do something. So I had to go to his house. I was sewing. Because of this hospital stuff, I had to sell my phone. I sold my sewing machine. I sold so many things just to raise money.
The plaintiff, Kelechi Peculiar, alleges that Hillary Ugwagu got her pregnant when they were dating and abandoned her with the baby. She claims to have been solely responsible for the child's delivery, hospital bills, and upkeep thereafter.
If I should call him, anytime I call him, he will say he does not. Then he blocked me, and he changed his number totally from me calling him. Up until now, I've not heard from him. I've not.
You know where he stays?
I don't know where he is. No, he packed out from that place where he stays.
So you can't trace him now?
I can't trace him.
Well, you don't have his picture?
I don't.
At all?
No more on Facebook. No, I actually sold my phone that I had his picture on. I sold the phone.
If you have his picture, it's something we could put out there with his name and ask people, anybody that knows him, to reach out to the court.
It's not more on social media. It's not on Instagram, Facebook. It's not there.
You don't have common friends?
No.
No common friend. How did
The only friend I know, that one has traveled to Ghana.
And you lost contact with that person?
Yes.
No other common friend?
No other one.
For how long were you dating?
2017, 18, 19, 2020, 3 years.
And you don't have common friends? You don't know any of the family members? No?
I know his brother. His brother stays with him. The other one stays in Port Harcourt, and his 2 parents are dead.
The defendant, Hillary Ugwagu, is not present in court, and Peculiar does not have a clue on where to find him. Judge Fumi offers words of advice, and after the break, she dismisses this matter.
What's his name?
Hillary.
Hillary what?
Ugwagu.
Hillary Ugwagu. So, Hillary, if you are hearing us, we're your tail, we're looking for you. To hear your own side of the story, in respect of what she has just narrated. So for now, I'm not going to adjourn. I'll dismiss it.
Okay.
Because tracing him right now could be a challenge for you. But once you get any link to either where he's living or you have his phone number, it can be traced even with the phone number.
Okay.
The police can assist to trace him with the phone number. Do you understand? So you come back to the courts and reach out to the legal team. So for now, I'll dismiss the matter. Matter hereby dismissed.
All right. Follow the conversation on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Have you been cheated or have a dispute and want justice? Don't take laws into your hands. Log on to www.thejusticecourt.com.
is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
Good afternoon. I am Adebanke Odunoyi, and this is the news update. PDP National Caucus will reconvene to continue discussions on the party's timetable for the 2023 general elections and other important issues on Wednesday. National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologuagba announced this while speaking with newsmen at the end of the 41st National Caucus meeting held on Monday night in Abuja. He said that while the caucus meeting has been adjourned to Wednesday, the National Executive Committee, NEC, and Board of Trustees meeting earlier scheduled for Tuesday to discuss important issues would also hold on Wednesday. An aspirant for national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Salihu Mustafa, has said members will sustain President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy and institutionalize the party as a haven for progressive ideals. Mustafa, who said members who would make themselves available for media scrutiny, spoke in a statement by his media aide, Dapo Kubanjo. He described President Buhari's admonition to party members as proof that he was keen on making the party stronger than ever. He hailed the president's call for peace among feuding members ahead of the March 26th National Convention. The attorneys general of the 36 states have been tasked to ensure effective implementation of autonomy for the judiciary, legislature, and local government. They were admonished by the Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) at a 2-day meeting in Abuja on Monday. The state's chief law officers were also told to be vigilant to ensure that their states do not fall victims to frivolous cases and orders to which they could lose their scarce resources. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong, who stood in for the NGF chairman, and Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi, told the AGs not to lose sight of the controversy trailing the autonomy for the judiciary and legislature. Director General of the NYSC, Major General Shuaibu Ibrahim, has appealed to employers to accept core members posted to them. Ibrahim made the plea at the closing ceremony of the 2022 Batch A Stream 1 orientation course at Damare Orientation Camp Gire on Tuesday. The DG, who spoke through the NYSC Adamawa coordinator Malam Ibrahim Tukur, said the core employers were expected to accord priority to core members' welfare and provide them with an enabling environment to develop their potentials. He called on the state and local government authorities, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to give them necessary encouragement for community development. Ibrahim further tasked core members to remain patriotic, hardworking, and resilient as demonstrated at the orientation course. The DG also called on core members to embrace the self-employment option because white-collar jobs were no longer easy to get. The police command in Oyo State has confirmed the arrest of officers allegedly involved in shooting Samuel Akinsui, a student at the Adesheun Ogundoni Polytechnic, Irua, Oyo State. Akinsui, a student of Business Administration Department of the Polytechnic, was allegedly shot on the leg by a police officer on Friday on his way from Irua to Ibadan during a stop-and-search operation. The command, in a statement by its public relations officer, DSP Adewale Osifeso, confirmed the arrest of the officer. Osifeso said the Commissioner of Police in the state, Ngozi Onadeko, has ordered full-scale investigations into events that led to the unfortunate incident. And on Street Views, Nigerians narrate their ordeals with online banking. We will take that report shortly after. So now we're moving to other parts of Africa. Cyclone Gombe has flooded large areas of northern and central Mozambique, killing 15 people. Governor Meti Gondola said the dead include 5 members of the same family in the Angoche coastal area of Nampula province. Gombe is the most recent of a series of cyclones that have hit southern Africa so far this year. The cyclones have highlighted how most of the fatalities occurred when the cyclone first hit Mozambique's northern coast on Friday last week, and its strong winds and rains caused many houses to collapse. Some coastal districts in Nampula province remained isolated on Monday without power, water, and communication. And outside Africa, a court in southern India has upheld a ban on wearing hijabs or headscarves in schools and colleges, a decision that came after a protest over the move. Karnataka Advocate General Prabhulig Navadging told reporters that the High Court in the state said wearing the hijab was not an essential religious practice and institutional discipline prevailed over individual choice. The ruling came as a setback to Muslim female students who had challenged the regional government's ban on headscarves. They plan to appeal against the verdict in India's Supreme Court. The controversy escalated after a group of hijab-wearing students were barred from entering a college in the Udupi district in December.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakari, Sundays, 7 p.m. on PlusTvAfrica.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Apologies for the abrupt break, but we are back with the news updates. Now moving on to business news. The Federal Ministry of Health has announced plans to fortify rice with micronutrients. The Deputy Director and Head of Micronutrients of the Ministry, Dr. John Uvuakpa, dropped this hint in a launch of the Nigeria Large-Scale Food Fortification Strategy in Lagos.
Fortification is the process of adding key vitamins and minerals which are essential for good health to staple foods like edible oil, wheat, flour, and sugar. About 2 billion people are said to lack enough micronutrients like iron and vitamin A, a greater number among them living in the developing economies. The Ministry of Health said a lot has been achieved in this regard. However, it spoke of new inroads.
Now, federal government is doing a lot through fortification, encouraging large-scale food fortification, whereby we identify the food vehicles we mentioned earlier. At least 8% of families in Nigeria are stand to be corrected, consume rice. Now, government said, okay, in their wisdom, we are going to fortify rice with zinc and iron.
International agencies such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation underscore the need to ensure good nutrition for Nigerians, especially expectant mothers and children. This it has done by partnering local agencies like NAFDAC and the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, among others.
If diets get stressed from factors like food insecurity, poverty, you consume basic foods like maize flour, salt, oil, and these can be, added micronutrients which help people to get to their opportunities in life and health, and that's important.
But by the time they release it from the factory and it goes into the market, so it has always been very difficult because some of these forticants are sensitive to light. Like vitamin A, is sensitive to temperature.
And the statistics, many of them are quite scary when it comes to the impact of micronutrient deficiency on different population groups in Nigeria. But there are things that we can do, and there are things that we must do.
In Nigeria, owing to bad nutrition, 7% of the children population are said to die before 5 years, a greater number of which are in the poorer northern part of the country. However, the enormous task of food fortification should be embraced by all Nigerians, rather than being seen as the responsibility of relevant stakeholders alone.
And moving on to entertainment news, media personality Tolu Oniru, popularly known as Tolls, has slammed men who feel threatened by a woman's success, describing the act as primitive and ghetto. The on-air personality was defending a post she shared on Instagram where a podcaster said that no man would want a very successful woman. Tolls had asked her fans for their opinions. Taking to her Instagram story on Tuesday, she made reference to her post and slammed men who do not want the very best for their partners. And in sport news, Super Eagles coach Austin Eguavon will drop 2 players from the 25-man squad ahead of their crucial World Cup Qatar 2022 playoffs round tie against the Black Stars. The first leg is billed for March 25th at the Cape Coast Stadium, with the reverse fixture scheduled for the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja 4 days later. On March 4th, Eguavon had released a provisional list of 32 players, with 25 players on the main list and 7 on standby. The coach will announce his final squad list of 23 players for the game before the team's departure to Accra, Ghana on Monday, on March 23rd. And that's a news update. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I am Adebanke Odunui. Thank you for watching.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica. According to Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, about 18 states in the Federation are still endemic, with more than 1,000 new leprosy cases yearly. He explained that the number of new leprosy cases detected yearly has significantly dropped from over 7,827 in 1994 to less than 2,000 in 2020. The Voice of Humanitarian Aid's Foundation took to the streets to march against the ostracization of people affected by leprosy and loud about changing the narrative. At her office, the National Coordinator of Voice of Humanitarian Aid's, Franca Emekobum, shared the group's experiences on the field with people affected by leprosy.
Even we that are even speaking up for them, sometimes, it wasn't easy for our families and our friends to even accept, that what we are doing is not risky. They are even afraid to come close to me. They're scared. Initially they say, oh, no. We don't want you and your leprosy people, please.
Franca maintained that discriminating against the people with leprosy in itself is a deadly disease.
Already they are in pain. Already they are in sorrow. We should not add to that sorrow by discriminating against them. Rather, we should, come together as, people of God, one nation, one love, one family.
Dr. Yohen Akase is the head of infectious diseases at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Luth. He confirmed that leprosy is not contagious.
With leprosy, the truth of the matter is that over 90% of people, in fact, that's a conservative estimate to be honest, but over 90% of people who get exposed to leprosy are not going to have leprosy. Okay? So yes,